This is the Aftermarket Radio Network.
Welcome to another episode of Speak Up Effective Communication. The title of our episode today is Just Call Your Client. I know we're giving you the takeaway in the title, but I know our listeners are going to stick around for our guest today, who is none other than Hunt Demarest, host of Business by the Numbers, my colleague here at the Aftermarket Radio Network, a CPA, ABV, author. You got a lot of good stuff going for you, Hunt. Thanks for joining me.
A little bit of everything, right? Appreciate having me on, Craig.
Oh, man, this is great. We'll give some context into why I wanted to have this conversation specifically with you here. But I also have a word of the day, as I do for each and every episode. And the word of the day today is gumption. Gumption is a noun, but we'll go ahead and define that word for you after we hear a word from our sponsors. Did you know the Institute helps shop owners scale to multiple locations? We're the solution for building productivity, profitability, and growth. Learn more at wearetheinstitute.com/business-assessment. AutoFlow is your partner in technology. With AutoFlow, enhance your client interactions in a single thread before, during, and after the visit. To see how AutoFlow makes it simple, visit AutoFlow.com. Are you tired of juggling multiple tools to manage your auto repair shop? Say goodbye to the chaos and hello to streamlined efficiency with AutoLeap, the #1 all-in-one auto repair shop management software. With AutoLeap, you can sell more, save precious time, and delight your customers with every interaction. Your trusted companion, ShopDog Marketing, is right by your side, attracting the best customers and building long-term growth. Call ShopDog Marketing today or visit shopdogmarketing.com. Unlock your communication insights with Inbound's AI-powered call analytics for auto repair shops. Learn more at callinbound.com. Okay, we're back, and the word of the day is gumption. That word is defined as the ability to make intelligent decisions, especially in everyday matters. I thought it was a very appropriate word for the topic that I'm discussing with our guest today, Hunt Demarest. Hunt, you have a wonderful quote as a numbers guy. You say numbers don't lie, but they don't tell the whole story.
That's the whole reason of why accountants exist. If numbers told the entire story on it, then what could your accountant ever provide? I'm in the unique job that I provide something that is not mine, right? Customers give me their life, their numbers, their story, and I give them back their numbers, their life, their story, in sometimes the same exact format that they gave it to me. But if everyone understood those numbers, then they wouldn't need to call Hunt and say, why is this? Why is that? It needs to add some context to it. And really the largest thing that adds context to numbers is the people that are actually contributing to this. And I think that people forget that a lot because we look at a lot of numbers, and especially in my field, what gross profit are we trying to get? What markup do we have? What is our effective labor rate? And it's numbers, numbers, numbers. But at the end of the day, if you don't have people driving cars, if you don't have people braking cars, cars don't really break themselves. And the same flip side, if you don't have people fixing the cars or people selling the work to fix the cars or people delivering this, again, none of this stuff happens. So if you want to just look at the numbers, that's going to tell you 100% of what the numbers are doing, but generally 0% of what the people are doing.
And this is exactly why I like this conversation. So I was listening to one of another podcast outside of the industry. Author, I love Michael Easter. I talked about that book, The Comfort Crisis, a lot. Got me into rucking. I'm literally on a ruck listening to his podcast. And it was an interesting topic. And it's from his 2% podcast, which you would have to subscribe to. The title of that episode I was listening to was Just Call the Vatican. And he told a brief story about how he had to get some information about how much the Pope makes. And his guidance from a senior editor, I guess, at the time was, if you want to find that out, just call the effing Vatican. And the gist of the takeaway was just a really short, good episode on the principle of like, all right, trying to do all this research, trying to get all this data, lining up all these facts and figures and information so I can write an eloquent article about a thing or something else when it's really a very simple matter. Just call. And it's an awkward time to be recording this episode as presently we have no Pope. But the point is, what happened next was interesting to me because I'm on my walk. That was a short episode with Michael Easter. And of course, my Spotify algorithms understand what I listen to. An Aftermarket Radio Network podcast comes on. It's Hunt Demarest. It's episode 163, which was titled, Where Are My Customers? And Hunt, I'm not a numbers guy. I listen to your episodes because I am not a numbers guy, and you make it sexy. Right? You make it fun. You make it relatable. And that's the kind of stuff. If I were still running my family business, like, oh man, this would be an every week listen for sure, because there's so many things I get out of it. So I'm thinking like, okay, we're going to try to focus on numbers for a minute on my walk is what I'm thinking. But this wasn't about numbers at all. It was an episode about what to do with data when something is starting to, numbers indicated something. It's like an alert. I've been talking a lot about notifications, alerts, trying to reduce those in my life. But the ones we should be listening to are data driven. And then what we do with it next, and the takeaway in your episode, just like the one I had just heard before, just call your clients. Can't make this stuff up, right? I'm on this walk. It's like, yes, it's like this thing slapping me in the face here. And I'm imagining you in many consulting calls, and tell me if this is true, where you are expected to tell someone what all of the numbers mean based on your experience. And you have to give them advice that's a little more simple.
And I think the big thing about this too is sometimes people are kind of asking me as two different things. Because a lot of times people are asking me as an accountant that I've seen and, dealt with, hundreds, thousands of other shops. But also, if you think about this, I'm a fellow business owner. So I have a different perspective in that aspect. And then, I do a lot of my own work on my own vehicles, but I'm also these guys' customers, so my clients work on my cars. I'm giving them kind of different, opinions based on what it is. And I think that that's really important, because if you get all of your advice from an accountant and you have an accountant hat on it, you're going to get accountant advice. Are you going to make money? Yeah. Is it going to have the most flavor? Probably not. If it's not about making money, we're not going to do it. And that's where you have to look at it from the business owner side of like, hey, there's a culture here. There's people involved on this, right? And you look at the customer side of any business that is absolutely bottom line driven will not be a probably long-term sustainable business, right? Look at the long-term industry kind of standard out there. It's not the most expensive. It's not the most profitable. It's the most consistent, and generally the most consistent on customer service. And so that's the hard part about this is when we're talking numbers, yeah, I'm going to talk numbers. And really all the stuff that I'm going down through with my clients is numbers driven. But like you said, where you add context is you take that off of the page. One of the things I always tell my clients is your numbers look bad, but they aren't wrong. And a lot of people get offended by that because no one wants to have bad numbers. But if you had a bad time, if you had bad people, if you had some bad jobs, what do you think that the numbers look like? Well, hey, the numbers look bad, right? The numbers look wrong for March. You lost 2 technicians. You fired your service advisor on the spot 2 days into the month. The numbers look like how it probably was there. It looks like it was a tough month. And so that's where we're saying the numbers don't lie. If you're not making any money, I can guarantee that you're not doing well, but it's probably not going to tell you why or what people led you to kind of that end result.
And this is a funny time right now where I'm involved in digital communication platforms all the time in my day-to-day job with AutoFlow. And I work with a lot of people on the shop owners very specifically. They're looking for ways to automate behaviors. And they're looking for things to happen without human engagement. We're in this AI era now. And I feel like I'm just trying to push a boulder up the hill sometimes. And it's like, well, no, actually, this is a human engaged process. We need your team engaged in these things to have them be as effective as they possibly can. And what I'm hearing from you is like a lot of times there's still this same sentiment on the other side of this equation. There's still this, I don't know, it feels like some things are just disconnected from the way that we're connecting with people. And numbers are where I go to die. This has not ever been a part of the business that I love. I hated having to talk about efficiency. I hated having to talk about all these other things. But my coach, Bob Greenwood, and I've referenced him many times, but he taught me one conversation I'll never forget. And he spun it in a very positive way. And this is like one of the things and even if you're just calling your clients or having a conversation with your employee, you can discuss numbers in a positive way. And Bob had this, why not 7 conversation that he would have. So minimum, a tech should be able to do 7 build hours every workday. And if he doesn't get that, you have this conversation with him. Why not 7? And it isn't, why not 7? It's like, hey, I'm going to go direct to the technician and get his perspective of what happened that made it impossible to get 7. And you hear all sorts of stuff. Oh, this diag really kicked my butt. Or There wasn't enough cars in the lot. I did everything that I could. All of those things start to come out of a conversation.
Yeah. And also that leads to, just talk to your employees. It's probably a whole nother episode on that. Like if I had $1 for every time of like the guys aren't hitting their goals of like, I know their goal. I told you what their goal probably should be. Did you ever tell them? Well, no. But going back to the customers on it, I'll give you a great thing that actually just came up this morning. So this is where the numbers confuse us, right? Even as accountants, I look at this stuff all day, every day. So if you've been in this situation, misery loves company. And hey, I get confused too. Looking at a client, very similar numbers, total quotes, total car counts, effective labor rate, fourth quarter, first quarter, virtually identical. Only thing that's down is we're at around a 45% close rate and we're down around 10%, around a 35% close ratio. So we're seeing first quarter sales down, not majorly, but we're seeing some trends on there. So the numbers don't lie. Everything else looks the same. Our close ratio is going down. But the tricky part here is those are two different service advisors. They're there in the fourth quarter and in the first quarter. Even worse, there was some overlap between the two on there. And so if you look at this, you could say, hey, that's two new service advisors that don't know what they're doing. Hey, that could be right. That is a worsening economy and people are saying no to, more work. Yeah, that could be right as well. That could be people driving. People have an outlook that they are driving less on it. That could be right as well. And this is the end of the conversation I had with my clients because I said, this is where numbers stop. The numbers gave us to this of some possibility, some possible outlook. You're going to need to call your customers from this situation to figure it out. Miss or Mrs. Smith, I'm looking and I'm seeing a close ratio decline. I got to call a customer and say, why is my close ratio declining on there? No, I'm going to get some information though from them that's going to be invaluable. Hey, I'm seeing your mileage is going down. Are you, not working from home? Hey, I see that your mileage is going up, but you're actually still not doing X, Y, and Z. Is it something that you didn't know about our financing options? Without going and asking someone, are you broke? You ask them, hey, did you know we do financing? But little stuff like that have been over the years for my clients almost more invaluable than the financials because the financials can sometimes give you the entire picture. They can sometimes be easy enough of this is what I need to do, but generally calling the client is where you actually get your actionable items of financials have showed me the issue. But once I talk to my clients or talk to enough of my clients, I've realized, this is the missing piece because the client is not always right. But if you're not making money, then the client has to be right. If you're making money, you can choose what you want to do with it. But if things aren't going well, the first thing I do is, hey, listen to what your customer wants you to do first and foremost.
The top shops in the industry don't stop at one location. At the Institute, we work with shop owners who want to expand, whether it's opening a second shop, acquiring new businesses, or building systems for long-term growth. Some of our clients are aiming for hundreds of shops, and we're helping them get there. Ready to scale? To get started, visit wearetheinstitute.com/business-assessment. Hey friends, as you know, I'm a proud member of the AutoFlow team, and let me tell you, we've changed how business is done for auto shops everywhere. We support your client experience before, during, and after the work is done. Imagine this. Timely updates sent directly to your clients, branded digital vehicle inspections, and seamless communication from start to finish. That's why shops love AutoFlow. And hey, with those 5-star reviews rolling in, you'll wonder how you ever managed without us. Take an important next step and take your auto shop to the next level. Visit www.autoflow.com. Get on board with an AutoFlow trial. Say goodbye to the chaos and hello to streamlined efficiency with AutoLeap, the #1 all-in-one auto repair shop management software. No more headaches, no more wasted hours, just smooth operations and happy customers. But hey, don't take our word for it. Experience the magic for yourself. So what are you waiting for? Head over to AutoLeap.com and book a demo today. Let AutoLeap revolutionize the way you do business. Do it all with AutoLeap. AutoLeap, where efficiency meets excellence. AutoLeap is by your side every step of the way. Ready to boost your auto repair shop's success? ShopDog Marketing is here to help you. We put customers first using AI to create standout content that ranks. Harness the power of mobile first and voice search and let our expert team help you sweeten your revenue with more car count, ShopDog Marketing offers a free guide on using AI to drive more repair orders. Get your guide today and watch your auto repair shop thrive. Visit shopdogmarketing.com. Every professional auto repair shop needs a trusted communication partner. At Inbound, our established VoIP platform is backed by years of industry experience, guarantees reliable connections, and is combined with cutting-edge AI-powered analytics. We deliver actionable insights that support your business growth. With Inbound, you get more than just calls. You get a smarter, more efficient operation. Get Inbound on your team today and see how we can transform your business. Visit callinbound.com. My uncle was a student in Japan at one point, and he was describing Japanese culture pre-internet. Mind you, when he was doing this is back somewhere probably late 80s, early 90s, if I'm not mistaken. Like, it's rude in Japan not to give directions, is what he was describing. So what his group would do if they needed to get somewhere is they'd split up and ask several different people. Then they'd reconnect in that spot and then put together notes, because it's rude to not give foreigner directions. They'll sometimes give wrong directions because it's more polite.
It would be ruder to say, I don't know, than it would to just lie to this foreigner. Yeah.
Yeah. But you can get wrong data from a lot of individuals. So what I'm hearing in this too, and I think you really just have a good thread of logic on this, you have to make this sort of a routine thing. I don't see that very often in shops. I see it most of the time, especially younger or less experienced service advisors, very uncomfortable reaching out on topics beyond the very thing the customer asked for in that visit. Is that discomfort something that you're running across?
Absolutely. I mean, you see that discomfort, or that's just natural human instinct. It's fight or flight. People are not knowingly going to run into a burning building unless they have something in there that they really, really want to save. Business is kind of the same way. If you have a, complete dumpster fire of a business, there's either people that are running headfirst in there. Who do I need to hire? Who do I need to talk to? How do I improve this thing? Or people that just step away and say, let that thing burn, right? I give up. I'm not going to say the easy way out, because a lot of these people have not taken the easy way out. They've been working at this thing for 30 years. But generally, if you're working at this thing for 30 years and it's not working, you're probably not listening. You're probably doing the same thing, expecting different results. And that's the sad part, because this is not, an advanced business. You're selling parts and labor. Most of the industry has come up to fair pricing, where most of the areas we don't have people kind of devaluing in the market. You can still kind of get a decent wage out of this one. But there's a lot of people that like to do stuff their way, right? And it might have worked 15 years ago, might have worked 10 years ago. But if you see that you're losing market share, if you see that people are not saying yes, if you see that the customers have maybe changed and you have not changed along with them, then again, this is, you're going to see the results in your financials. You're going to see the results in the negative numbers. But those are results, right? Those are outputs, not inputs.
Yeah. No, you're like, bring me back to family business days of tradition. Well,
that's how we've always done it, right?
It was, and my favorite line in the world, it'll come back around.
It'll come back around. I've had people, the old, it's a fad, right? ADOS is a fad.
Oh, no.
Yeah, EVs, that'll wear off, right?
Oh, it won't. No, it won't. It's interesting because different demographics are going to respond differently. And that's what I liked about episode 163 as well. You had a very, very specific client. He was serving a lot of government workers, and you were not shy about indicating how that may be affecting things more today. I wonder if that's the case too. But my gosh, when government workers, especially at that time, were immediately during COVID going into the offices, well, of course, it seems so obvious now after you call and talk to a few people. And of course, as you start to look at it, of course, it makes sense. There's these transient things that do impact things dramatically, especially if your clientele's in a unique bubble of whatever.
Yeah. And I think also the thing about it too is like you mentioned before, it is helpful to look at other industries, because if you only look at this industry and you only look at how people talk about how people analyze it, you're going to get kind of one train of thought. And where the kind of idea came on that episode was, again, data, but data points that other industries measure, right? And like, I think in that episode, I used the example of like restaurants maybe, or I've used this one in the past. Restaurants always measure this stuff. How many people are coming in? How often are they coming in? How many times are these tables turning? and ultimately that data is the same as what we see end up as average repair order. But that would be going to a restaurant and saying, hey, we know how many tickets we had and we know how much each of those tickets were. But that's the extent of what they're measuring. They're not looking at, hey, why did that customer used to come to us 3 times a year and they're only coming to us 2 times a year? Hey, why when that customer came in, this would be a different one, right? Why were they walking 5 miles in between each visit and now they're only walking 2 miles? Restaurants get so much data on stuff behind that because that's how they know that they improve the output. Hey, the way that we improve our overall sales has nothing to do with trying to sell more to them when they're in here. We need to figure out why they're not coming in here more. Now, for automotive repair, it's a little bit different because you're not like, oh, my stomach hurts, I should probably change the oil in my car, right? So a lot of that is, again, much more data driven. When my car gets to this certain point, it's going to yell at me and say, hey, Craig, go get your oil changed. And so again, then you need to back up even more of
those lights don't mean anything. I'm good.
Well, now, people always ask like, wait, why are all the lights, dash lights up? It's like, because when it just shows you that oil light, you thought it was fine. So, usually now they light up with a Christmas tree. But still, it's like, hey, these people are in these cars. These people know that this stuff needs to get repaired. Why are you stretching your oil change out to 7,000 when you used to be here every 4,000? There is a lot of different theories that could be true. And for each customer, they could be. The thing that you said that makes this really hard is numbers are easy. That's either a 5, a 3, or a 2. That's a 2 in English. That's a 2 in Spanish. Customers, you have to take it with a grain of salt. A bad customer giving you a bad review, is it really an actionable item? A good customer giving you a good review, again, is it really an actionable item as well? You're going to be living in the middle there, and it's subjective. And you have to be careful on that. But if this was easy, everyone would do it.
Oh, yeah, an actionable item. And what is the action that we should be doing? I've talked on this multiple times. Like all of our team members need to be focused on retention, bringing the client back in again and again and again and again and again. And that doesn't happen automatically. That is not an automatic thing. One of the speakers that I met at conference, Tony Chapman, I've got to reach out to him again. Interesting character. Something he was saying just in conversation really struck me is you can't automate communication. He said communication, and I sort of disagree. You can automate some forms of communication, but true communication is bidirectional. So I think what I would say is you cannot automate a relationship. You have to connect with people and ask the harder questions. And asking the harder questions is, again, it's the spot I see most service advisors extremely uncomfortable. Shoot, dude, I was just here in Michigan doing some shop visits recently, and the service advisors there felt that going over inspection results was awkward with their clients.
If you phrase inspection results as an estimate, that is going to be extremely awkward for most people.
Oh, and I think that's exactly how people end up phrasing it. They phrase it very awkwardly, like, oh, hey, yeah, we found some things, but yeah, you don't have to take care of them right now, but if you want to take care of them.
Yeah, the old, you don't have to, but you could. It's like, well, then why would I?
I know.
There's also some customers that no matter how you phrase that, it's always going to be offensive to them, right?
Oh, their guard's up.
And that's where the 10% is too, is like, there's going to be some people that don't want to fix anything that's not squealing or broken. And then you need to make a decision. Is that a customer that you want to deal with?
Spot on. And I feel like we've encountered, all of us in this business, and you've talked with automotive shops exclusively. I mean, at Parmelis & Associates, you guys pretty much exclusively auto repair shops. Is that correct?
Yep. 100% of what we do.
You're one of us. You've heard everything.
Yeah. My shop is different, right?
Oh, you know it. But you know this too, Hunt, because as a service advisor, we meet those clients with their dukes are up, and that makes an imprint, especially on our younger, less experienced advisors who have not weathered the stigma of our industry as often, but they carry that into every subsequent conversation, and they overcompensate over and over again in all of those conversations. And they may know their numbers are down, their sales are lower, and they've got a quota to meet, especially in these tire stores or quick service type facilities where some of these metrics are live and die type metrics for some of these guys. It's a whole different world. Man, trying in that environment to just stop freaking out about the numbers. Engage the people that are in front of you right now. Ask them meaningful questions about the data you do have. It's an art form, and it takes a little time, and it takes wherewithal. And I don't feel like we're giving that to a lot of people. You must see this all the time. You see shops that are probably posting good numbers, but they're absolutely chaotic.
Yeah. And also the thing about it is where people think there's direct relationships. So like one of the biggest fallacies I think is that close ratio has to do with pricing. Oh, raised our prices, close ratio came down. We do, benchmarking and KPI for just about all of the data points that you can imagine in a shop. And unfortunately, for most people, there is not a direct relationship with any of this stuff. So if that was true, we would see a declining close ratio based on, labor rates, plus profit or something like that. Zero correlation. There is only one number that is actually correlated to net profit, and that is productivity, which is even funnier because productivity is not a number in itself, it's people. So if your people are working more efficiently, you're going to make more money. Doesn't matter if your prices are up or down. Doesn't matter if your parts margin is up or down. Anyone that says, hey, we can automate this and get people out of this, my clients that have effectively engaged their team and their customers the most are the ones that make the most money, not the ones that charge the most. And if you go to the same flip side on this, when we do and we look at this stuff and when you benchmark this, it's not the ones that are trying to squeeze every last cent out every single time. I'm going to steal this one from my customer, but Jenny, you get credit for this one. She told me this morning. If you go to someone and you say, hey, Craig, this is going to be a $130 tire. Do you want it? Yes or no? And they did this statistic. It's like a 9%, close ratio. They're going to be like, no, yeah, I'm good. Right now, however, if I go and I say, hey, Craig, I got two for you, right? I got this one's like $140, decent tire, going to get you where you need to go. This one's $180. It's going to go everywhere. Which one you want? 80% of the people bought one or the other. And in that example, we didn't lower the price. We didn't even sell something different. We sold them even more stuff and they bought more of it. And so that's, stuff like that breaks the mold of anyone that says you can automate this stuff, anyone that says you can run this business off the numbers, boom, right there, right? It's not what you're saying, it's how you're saying it. It's not what you're saying, it's who's saying it and who is saying this.
Oh, man. I'm going to have to play that back multiple times, Hunt.
I know that's music to your ears, right?
Music to my ears, man.
The numbers guy saying it's not about the numbers, but...
I'm going to sleep so good tonight now. Thank you, Hunt.
Hey, but I look at a lot of businesses, right? And so like I am a student. I learn. So I look at hundreds, if not thousands of shops, and that is data for me. And I ask questions. How is your ARO high? How do you get your productivity that high? Because I have other people that say that's impossible. How are you able to make this much money? And you guys don't make any money off parts. Biggest thing that I've learned on this is you can make money in any industry, but even automotive repair in a lot of different ways. There is not a uniform thing that works. The one thing that is uniform is, like I said, you are productive in your customers and productive in your employees.
Productive in your customers, productive in your employees. And what does that mean?
It's all relative, right?
Yeah, it sure is.
That's for next week's episode.
You bet, dude. Well, this AI-driven world, AI is great for data. It's great for data. I'm sure there must be elements in accounting that's making your job easier, maybe tax season easier.
Yeah, benchmarking is much better with AI than having someone do a spreadsheet, right?
Oh, I bet that's glorious, right? That frees you up to have better and richer conversations with the people you serve, right? See, that's what it is. My war with AI, and it's probably, I don't think it'll ever be a shooting war, I hope. But
we'd lose quickly on that one, right?
We'd lose real quick, man.
But the cool thing about that is look at AI and look at the industry. Like yours, if I, look at you on the tech side of this right now, we are much more in the crosshairs of AI than the guys turning wrenches in the shop. Like we have people right now doing what you and I do that are not humans. They're computers. There's no one out there, fixing cars. The reason I tell you guys I do 99% of my own work is there might be a point where I'm going to have to call one of you guys and say, I'm pretty good with numbers, but the computers are way better. I can turn wrenches all right. So don't forget about me, guys.
It's so funny. Yeah, no, professional services, you're absolutely right. I tell this stuff to my kids too. It's like you need a trade skill. You need to be good with your hands, but more than that too.
The old learn to code, right? It's like, yeah, that's gone.
Oh, I know. It's interesting. I think it'll always be a skill, but you have to be really good at the skill. And that's why the emphasis is on communication skills too, because in my opinion, my strong opinion on this, those who communicate the best will continue to do the best in whichever field they are in. But if you're skilled at something and a poor communicator, I don't know. I think there'll always be use in some skilled trades, but I feel like, man, you've got to be good. You got to be good at communication in order to move up and support the families the way you want.
I think that we are also at an easier time than ever to be good at communication. Imagine being able to call a customer 25 years ago and rattle off all the work that they had done for you, declined and stuff like that. You would have to be a very, very, very good service advisor because you'd have to take good notes, have good organizational skills. Now, you could be the world's worst service advisor. If you have a decent piece of technology, it's going to pop all of that up there right now. What's due, what's about to be due. And so, not that you can be a bad communicator, but this is where I see technology, right? Like my kids' generation, yeah, we might be working for the robots at that point. But the near future of what I see in my life, and I think most people's lives, is we are going to be able to use AI, whatever sort of technology, to, like I said, be able to communicate better. At some point, is there going to be anyone doing an actual tax return? Probably not. Like, let's be real. The actual transactional nature of putting in a tax return. But if you can utilize technology, and we're using this right now, all of when we do our benchmarking, when we do our end of year big benchmark report that puts all the KPI of all of our shops and analyzes that, we could not do that without AI. We cannot do that without technology. That is not something I could have created 10 years ago. And now we can do this, it's down to, still takes us months to do, but it's possible and we're giving that information out to people. So anyone that says, it's going to replace it, it is ultimately for some people, but I really think that hopefully in the meantime, it's going to allow us to do an even better job, with even more data.
Yeah. I just want to see real people get real data and call real people with that data and have meaningful conversations. I think that's going to be the golden ticket for quite a while here. And what I'm consistently seeing, though, and we talked about the discomfort element, is the lack of interest. It's not even just a discomfort. I generally feel that there's a lack of interest in it, or that's not my job mentality that has kind of been cultivated in this industry, where we're supposed to react to what the customer wants in pursuit of a noble deed. I always thought of service advising as like we're automotive fiduciaries, a term I'm sure you much appreciate. We are looking out for their best interest with their vehicle. All of our recommendations would be originated on that. And I don't find that to be an awkward position to enter the discussion around an inspection. I find it a very easy thing because I've communicated it very clearly. And Bob Greenwood, my coach, taught me the difference between clients and customers. And the title of this podcast is Just Call Your Clients. It doesn't say just call your customers. The difference between the two is night and day. Customers will sometimes just come in. They want to have a quick service and they really aren't loyal to you. They don't understand your value proposition. They're going to be periodic at best. Maybe you can convert them to clients, and that's something that you should have as a goal every time you can. We're calling our clients, man. We're calling clients who understand that my job, my professional responsibility is make sure the vehicle's safe, reliable, and efficient, and I will not let you down. And that's why we should take care of these things today. And this is how much it could cost, or it could be this. And they trust you. It's a relationship.
Well, and again, you don't have the data because if you go to someone and say, hey, Craig, this thing needs a ton of work. It's going to be $3,000. And Craig goes to me and says, that's crazy. Appreciate it. I'll talk to you a little bit later. I'm like, I get it. That thing was kind of a piece of junk, whatever. And we just think we struck out on that. Where if, like you said, someone was really, being a true advisor there and looking out for their best interest, Craig, what do you plan to do with this vehicle? Right? It's getting up there. Let's be real. It's, on its last legs. I know, Hunt. I need to get this through another 12 months. I want to get this through another winter. I'm going to get rid of it. All right, cool. Honestly, all this stuff that I'm saying right now, it's going to break, right? So if you want to keep it for another year, just do it now. And this will be the last money you spend with me. Or, hey, maybe I can slim it down. It's $2,500. But there again, I didn't discount it. If I went back and I said, well, would you do it for $2,600? There's no price that you would have felt necessary because it wasn't a price issue. It was a value issue. I'm not going to have this vehicle. Why would I put all this money into it? However, if you actually talk to your customers or your clients and you understood this is value because this is how you achieve your goals. You want to keep this piece of junk for 12 months, give me $3,000, you're going to be able to and could go. And if you look at that, I look at that in the numbers and, my clients will call me up and say, why is my close ratio bad? That right there is in there. I don't know if you didn't ask the questions. I don't know if you did. I don't know if you said the right things or not. Again, that's where kind of I stop and the other stuff starts.
Man, don't stop. That was beautiful. I think our listeners are going to be thinking, it's like, Hunt, I don't want you to work on the cars. I want you at my front counter. What's your price?
Cars are easier.
They absolutely are.
Yeah.
There's a reason I put my service advisor hat down for about 6 years and worked as an R&R tech in the transmission shop gleefully.
Maybe we'll start the transmission shop back up, right? It's like, hey, you know what? Transmission shops are dying breed. AI comes back in. It's like, you know what? A lot of transmission guys are back looking for work.
I don't know, man. Every time I get that itch, I just walk and visit the transmission shop. Go see my dad and ask him how things are going.
And then the pungent smell of ATF comes out there and you're like, yeah, I'm good on that.
Yeah, Michigan winter, you name it. Oh my gosh. Oh, Hunt, this is wonderful. I'm so glad to be able to finally have you as a guest on this podcast. This has been a lot of fun, man. You do such a great job with yours. And I'll tell you, I've listened a great deal even before I started recording my own. And everything that you do on there, man, I'm learning from it. Not as much with the numbers, just as much as your style. So hopefully this gives some folks some ideas here on just having the gumption to pick up the phone and call your clients, get the data, or start asking more meaningful questions at the counter too, using the data well and trying to get more data from the individuals that we're with. It might be awkward at first, but hey, this is one of those topics. Communication, we're always about expanding outside of our comfort zones. And hey, if Hunt can get out of tax season and into vacation, I don't know. The discomfort's tax season probably isn't just because of busyness, isn't it, man? You're done with it now.
And stress, right? It's like, hey, no one is in the best mood, whether they're doing taxes or they're receiving a phone call that they owe taxes. So I think everyone's happy to be through that.
Yeah. And you had a little break after all the tax season stuff was done. I'm so happy. That made me, we would have tried to do this last week, but I think it would have been impossible because you were on break.
Yep. I was away from the studio, luckily, but glad to be able to catch up, Craig, and appreciate you having me on here.
Oh, this is great. And folks, check out the show notes here today because Hunt has written a book, Your Perfect Shop, How to Start, Run, and Sell a Profitable Shop. And Hunt, I'm not going to lie, I'm not good with all acronyms that are outside of the automotive industry. I saw CPA and ABV, and when I searched ABV, initially it was like alcohol by volume was the first thing that popped up. But it's accredited business valuation, correct?
Well, hey, wouldn't that be more fun if I was like, no, it's just alcohol on there. But yeah, accredited business valuation. So like you said, I do valuations on it, but again, only do it for automotive repair shops because that's all we deal with.
Correct. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Hunt. And thank you for our listeners for listening here. If you have something you want to talk about or reach out, check out and email me, please, at speakup@craigoneal.net. But we also would like you to listen to the other shows here on the Aftermarket Radio Network. Remarkable Results Radio with Carm Capriato, Tracy and Carm, great duo. Carm started this all with the podcasting on that show. It's fantastic. Diagnosing the Aftermarket A through Z with Matt Fonslow. Hunt, I know you get along good with Matt. Is there any jokes you want to make about him right now?
I will skip to the next podcast.
Skip to the next one? That's Business by the Numbers with Hunt Demarest.
Hey, there we go.
No, truly, folks, numbers will tell you things. And I think that it goes really well with the topics that we discuss. I appreciate the fact that Carm has cultivated the types of topics that we have and the host that we have here. Please check out Hunt's podcast and see what he has to say on a number of things. The Auto Repair Marketing Podcast with Brian and Kim Walker as well. Wonderful folks. And the Weekly Blitz with Coach Chris Cotton. And hey, I got to thank once again our sponsors who make this show possible. Thank you, our listeners, for joining us. Now, get out there. Show up, listen up, speak up, and call those clients up. Thanks.
You've been listening to Speak Up, Effective Communication with Craig O'Neill on the Aftermarket Radio Network. Follow Craig on your favorite podcast listening app and on his YouTube channel. Let him know what you'd like him to speak up about. Craig is all for advancing the automotive service aftermarket.